Okay, so this morning I have a a20s phone. Customer says that the phone is not charging or charging rather slowly. So the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to remove the case. This is a Samsung a20s. Now I would try fitting in a charger, but the device doesn't seem to be taking charge. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this device and I am going to stick it into the phone. It's going to read and it's going to give me an idea as to what is the issue. Okay, so the areas in red means that they're open loop, so these would be pins on the charging ports that would have an issue. So there's two things I can do. I can easily replace the port itself, or I can do this, which would be to replace the entire port with a brand new one. Now, either of them is workable. I'm just gonna do whatever is easier. So I'm gonna take this phone apart and then I'm going to start the repair process. So let me take this apart. So I'm going to remove the SIM card reader. Now let me get some light from the microscope. Okay, so I'm going to remove the SIM card reader. It's kind of difficult doing this with one hand, so here we go. So SIM card reader. Okay, then the back cover. It's already loose. So this was already opened at some point in time and resealed, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this screw here, these screws here. Okay, so now that I have removed the screws, I'm going to be mindful of the volume button and the power button. I am going to slide my finger between the space to separate the phone, so it kind of peels off. Peels off the phone. So let me get this done. And okay. This is the removal of the. Alright, and this is what I'm left with. This is the motherboard, fingerprint reader, LCD cable, battery connector. This sub cable does the charging, mic, and a bunch of the network control. This is the network cable here. It goes down, so this sends the information up to the next half of the board. So first things, I'm going to pull the battery, very important, and then I'm going to remove the 4 screws at the bottom that holds the speaker housing. Okay, right, then I'm going to remove the speaker housing. All right, and this would be the speaker. You notice that there's a little gloss shine. That means that at some point in time some oil or water that got into there. This is the network cable. This cable make contact with the speaker here, the 2 points on the speaker, to make it work. So I'm going to remove the network cable. I'm going to also remove this auxiliary cable here, and this would be the charging ports in its entirety. So as I said, there are 2 things I could do. I can go ahead and micro solder, which should be to remove this port here and replace it with this port here. But today I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to replace it with a brand new complete. So I'm going to fit the port in like that, make sure the bottom is tucked, and it should be, everything will be fit in place like this. But first I'm going to put in the rubber housing, and I'll put this back together. So I'm going to put the rubber housing back here in its correct place. And now that I have the rubber housing back in its place, I'm going to fit this is the vibrator, or the vibration module. So I'm going to fit this back in its place, and it fits like this. Then I'm going to put on the network cable, and this cable comes back right about here. This cable plugs in here. So let me get that done. So it turns out that yes, this is the part, but this won't work because there are differences in this connector here and the original connector here. They're both different. So the next step is to replace the port itself. So let me get that set up. All right, so I'm going to just get the board set up here. Going to have the solder station, get it going. All right, the first thing what I'm going to do is I don't want to get any flux in this hole because this is the microphone receiver hole. So I'm going to put some flux on the areas. Then I'm going to take the hot air gun and tweezer to remove the ports. Now, since I'm doing this by one hand, it's going to be sort of complicated to show you, but this is what it entails. So let me get it done. Okay, this is the port removal, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to inspect this area here. Looks good, so I'm going to hit it with some fresh flux. Then I'm going to use the soldering station. Okay. The next thing I'm going to use is solder removing wick, solder removing braid, to clean up the old solder from the area here. But first I'm going to introduce some low temperature flux. Do I need to do that now? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some soda wick, some soda actually, to clean that area up. So I'm going to get some soda wick, some soda, and I'm going to introduce it on the area before I clean it up. So let me get that done. Okay. And then I'm going to clean it up like this. Let's see if I can get it right. Now this is way more effective and more precise than a soda sucker. I'm just going to clean the anchor holes for the ports. Alright, let me show you them. Okay. And then I am going to get some isopropyl alcohol, and that would be the next thing I would use to clean out the area. If I can locate the isopropyl, there we go. So, and a tip. So I'm gonna get a Q-tip, and I'm gonna want to gently clean the areas here, making sure that I don't get anything into the microscope hole. So let me get that done. Okay, so this is the rough cleanup. This is the port fitting in place. Now I'd have to solder all the little pins in the back to the correct places, and for that I would be using the microscope and some flux. So let me just flux this down before I do anything. Okay, our port. So I'm going to set the anchors first, and then I'm going to do the soldering after. Okay, so that looks good. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this through the microscope and start the work. Okay, so this is the anchors already done. So I'm going to solder these pins and them in their correct places to get that done. Okay, so minus the flux, which have to be cleaned up. This is the finished product. I'm going to go test it. Okay, so this is testing customer's phone. Want to see that it that changes. Yeah. So this is it. Still waiting a bit. And there we go. So the customer phone is charging. So I'm going to take this apart, clean it up, connect the network antenna, and then I'll show you the finished product again. Okay, so the phone is back together. It's on 54. I'm going to apply some glue. Black one should work. But first, I'd have to remove all this, the oil that I was sitting there before. And I can do that with a tweezer, a clean tweezer to do this. So I'll do this and then I'll show you the glue process. And this is the cleaner process. The tweezers, I'm going to clean this out. And I'm going to bond this, put it back together. Okay, so 58. Okay. And I'm going to put the back cover. Now, seeing as this is a a20s port, but apparently, well, there are two different types. There's the internationally used version. The connectors here will be is either smaller or larger. So this is going to work. So I'm going to put this back. And this would have been the old port that came out today. Damaged one. This would have been a new one. I didn't use it, so I'll put it back amongst the ports. So I'm going to let this dry out, bond, and return the phone to the customer. And that's the process it takes to change a charging port from scratch. Now, different ports would have different time and different patterns. Not all of these ports you need to solder with a machine. Example, these you'd have to line these up and fit them in place and heat them down. So I'll see you guys when I make the next video.